be a pretty good process. I'm sure all of you have sold, already. Is everybody familiar with the Section 1 clearance? Yeah, pretty much. So with that, it's something that we have a little bit better of an idea on, and as far as working directly with mostly realtors, exactly what they are needing for these clearances or for the lenders, right? So as long as we're communicating, you could really get that across for you. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, I clicked you off. That's me.
You're all good.
Try again.
All right. So important things to know. Again, what identifies as a wood destroying organism? What is a Section 1 clearance? Our methods of treatment? What are supplemental damages? How to manage these concerns within a real estate transaction? And what makes us as Termacore Home Services different than any other termite company? And what else do we do? So with that, I'm sure you guys all have kind of learned a little bit about what these different organisms as well as funguses and dry wood often look like. Of course, beetles are probably the worst out of a lot of these because they cause a lot of damage. Of course, between beetles and dry wood termites, we're going to request and want to go with a fumigation to eradicate those. Of course, with subterranean termites, we would go in and treat the actual perimeter as well as the interior and use a termicide called Termidor, which is one of the highest rated insecticides that we use. So with that, this kind of just shows what some of the dry rot looks like. I just like to show everybody this so you know what you're looking at. Again, it's nice to be educated to when some people don't look at these reports or even know kind of how to read them. And we really want to partner with you to help educate your clients so they know exactly what they're looking at. So again, a little bit of dry rot and then fungus. People think, oh my God, fungus is a horrible thing. It is treatable, right? So there's a lot of treatable methods that we do utilize safe and environmentally friendly chemicals to rectify. So the Section 1 clearance. The Section 1 clearance is as identified is in a termite transaction refers to a certification that a property is free of active infestation or damages caused by certain wood destroying organisms such as termites, beetles, or fungus. This clearance is typically required by your lenders, of course, or the buyer, which of course doing our due diligence before the sale of the property can be finalized. It indicates that if any necessary treatments or repairs have been completed, and that the property is deemed safe and habitable. Of course, this gives you a clear and transparent idea to your buyer what to expect. From there, what does that really do as far as bringing value? Having even, sometimes as listing agents, you guys want to actually, offer a Section 1 clearance to your seller, right? To make sure that, hey, we have this already cleared. There should be no problems here. So it gives it a little bit more transparency. So again, a Section 1 clearance can affect the value of a property in a positive way because it provides assurance to the buyer that the property is in good condition and free from active infestation or damage caused by wood destroying organisms. This reduces the risk of potential costly repairs or treatments down the line, which can increase the property's overall value. Additionally, having a Section 1 clearance can make the property more attractive to potential buyers who may be hesitant to purchase a property with termite or pest issues already on the property. So, very important there. I think I got clicked on.
I hijacked you again.
All good. All right. So again, as Termacore Home Services, we understand what you need. Again, in the Structural Pest Control Board, the actual Section 1 clearance as the certification that we offer overrides the NPMA form. Again, what do the lenders always ask you guys for? The NPMA form, especially on what type of transactions. Can somebody tell me what type of transaction requires an NPMA? You could VA. So it's going to be VA. Those are the biggest ones. VA is always going to try to ask for an NPMA form. So it's very important that, again, some companies won't offer this. We don't mind offering it, but because it's overridden by the Section 1 clearance acknowledged by the Structural Pest Control Board. So an NPMA form stands for National Pest Management Association form. It is needed in a real estate transaction to provide evidence that a property has been inspected for wood destroying organisms and insects such as termites. This is important because these insects can cause significant damage to a home and affect its value. Termacore has services that can help by providing professional pest inspections, and we do the treatments to ensure that a property is free from pests and thus can help with completing the NPMA form. This will give buyers peace of mind and confidence that they are making a sound investment in their new property. So I won't go deep into these, but again, we utilize pretty much 3 methods of treatment. Again, on subterranean termites, we're going to trench and treat the exterior of the property as well as go into the sub areas if it does have a sub. Again, if it's all concrete and if it's on a slab foundation, we're going to be drilling into every 18 inches throughout the perimeter, and then trenching where there is soil and dropping our termicide chemical. Again, for dry wood termites and wood-borne beetles, fumigation. That's going to be what we're going to recommend. That's what it's going to be to eradicate those, which when they use a Vacant, which is the most effective termicide on that, or fumigate. Methods for dry rot repair typically involves removing the affected wood and applying a fungicide to prevent further growth. Area may also need to be dried out of any sources of moisture that may cause damage or dry rot down in the future. In the first place, it needs to be addressed. So once the repairs are complete, it is important to maintain the proper ventilation and moisture control to prevent future occurrences of dry rot. And it's recommended to hire a professional to dry rot repair and ensure that the job is done correctly and effectively. Of course, we'll get, you guys probably have those people that'll come out and try to throw up some stuff. And again, they'll say, hey, we're going to call a termite company to come out there. If it's not done properly, it's clients wasting their money, right? So it's more important that you hire the professionals to come out there. We're very cost effective. I'll tell you some of the things that we do within that really helps the transaction continue to move effectively forward. And that's kind of where this goes into place. Is Termicor Home Services, we do partner with our brother company, Next Vision Construction. So we are fully licensed general contractors as well. So we do everything. When I say everything, we do remodels, flips. We can help you with any of your ADU build outs. You guys have investors, you guys have buyers that want to now add a granny suite for an in-law. We can help you build an ADU. We actually do everything ground up in construction. We also just are now getting our roofing license, so we also do roofing as well. So with that, again, with Termicor on this side, we can offer those services for them. If you have dry rot, repair, any of those things, we basically can handle it all. And with that, these are kind of some of the biggest things we have is our costs, right? So when you go down to California's average cost, and this is between all of our different competitors, right? The high-end guys like the Clarks and the Buoys, you know, some of these bigger names, all the way down to some of our, you know, local guys, you know, Twin Termite, you know, us and as well. So again, average cost versus us, you're looking at least on the high end, more than $350. And when we're going down to really pest inspection, these are averages here in Sacramento now. When I'm in the Bay Area, the average cost is about $350. And we do travel. So we do go all the way to the Bay Area in different hours. So with that, we are very cost effective. So our service treatments for, our inspection costs are $150 for us to come out and actually do your inspection, which we offer your report for that. If you do need us to clear section 1, we can offer that as well, which of course on all your reports, you have all of the details and the summaries as far as what our findings were and what the cost of the estimates will be for each of those. Again, going back to what really sets us apart is, again, we offer not only all of these services, but for you and only for you guys only, do we bill to escrow, okay? So again, not a lot of companies do that. Not a lot of companies will allow you to bill these services or charges to escrow. So of course, there's things we got to make sure that Termicor and Next Vision we cover ourselves with, but essentially the transaction doesn't have to stop there. Nothing has to slow down. And we can keep you guys moving and know exactly how to pivot, how we can work with you, just like you're working with your lender, just like you're working with title and escrow, just like you're working with your team leads, whatever that may be. We all need to be working together to really help your clients achieve their goal. So again, Termicor Home Services, thank you guys so much for having us today. Again, we did provide lunch. If you guys are hungry, you have a little bit right here that tells about us. Again, I didn't bring anything, but I'm going to figure out a way that I will be giving one of you today. I'm just trying to collaborate because I forgot my raffle tickets. To give one of you guys is going to get a free inspection with us. So we definitely want to earn your business. We've only been in business since July of last year, and we've grown crazily since then, as well as adding Next Vision Construction as our partner. We've been able to really pledge forward, again, all throughout the Bay Area, major Sacramento metropolitan as well. So definitely give us a call. We'd love to partner with you and really show you how we're a little bit different. I'd love to answer a question.
How do you want to work that out? Do you want them to give you the business card and then pick?
I would love, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. If you all have business cards, I'd love to have a business card. And that would be, thank you. Thank you, yes. Yeah, thank you, Gina. Does anybody else have any questions?
You have a 510 number. Where are you based at?
So we are based out of Elk Grove. The reason we use the 510 number is because we service all the way through the San Juan County. So yeah, we're based out of Sacramento. We service the Bay Area. We've done, actually these guys are getting ready to do an ADU in Sunnyvale. So yeah.
Last question. NPMA 33. What's the turnaround?
I mean, for us, this guy does in like 24, 48 hours. It's usually we're pretty Johnny on the spot with it. And again, because we're such a small company, we have control over all the different assets and that's.
Are you guys looking out pretty far right now?
Right now, I mean, we have guys in the field, so we stay active. Not necessarily. You tell me, and that's the biggest thing is I want to be really Johnny on the spot for you. If there's something, if you got one right now, Matt, you gotta go. So absolutely, we want to earn your business. If there's a way that we can make that as fast as possible, absolutely, yeah. Time is of the essence always, right? Okay. Hi guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys want to take a break and get a sandwich before?
Yes.
Get something to drink?
Intermission.
Sorry, I hear you guys are on Zoom.
Please.
Yeah, to get something. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
I'll do it, yeah. You're like, don't tell me.
There's only like, we have a good chance, you know?
I have a good chance. Yeah. Is that mean an escrow deal?
I believe it, yeah.
I better not. That's gross.
Good.
Oh, no. No, I'm already here. What do you want? You know how you put it off on your own. Your own stuff, you take care of it, y'all. That's a little. That's good.
Well, I'm sure.
I just do reports.
I'm sure we're gonna learn a lot. I'm excited.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the best way we service everybody, because again, these guys work with escrow, we want to follow with them. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. All right, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Nice
You
meeting
have
you.
a business card?
Oh,
Oh, when you're done.
no, I'm in.
But we do, well, I do, all the way up to Humboldt to almost the whole Oregon. And then Truckee, obviously, Placerville, probably to like.
Just a matter.
But you know what, if you win it,
Oh,
you can
okay.
whatever you want.
I think that everyone, that's the first one. Yeah, I do.
When I'm gonna be up there, I think I have it on.
Okay.
One of your guys do.
Yeah.
But I want to make that something good for you guys.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
stuff up there too that I'm on.
Yeah, I'll definitely connect you up there. Is it the ready moment?
You know what?
Yeah.
What?
I
Yeah.
think it would be ready.
Yeah.
I said, we want to go. We'll probably go other than that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of hard.
Yeah. No. Everybody else.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Right, we ready to get started? I think so.
Yeah.
Regina?
Yes.
Anything?
And so John, I'm gonna try to feel this way. I'm gonna try to feel this way, and I'll call it everlasting.
First of all, I just want to thank Sam for getting us in here. I've been going around different offices, and I just want the agents to be aware of what's trending out there right now. Elderly abuse and also vacant scam. There's elderly we came across, and it actually went through title change and everything. We actually had one in our office last month. It almost went through the vacant land scam. This individual was using the same property, open escrow at different title companies. So we're gonna go ahead and have my gracious, beautiful operation manager, Donna, who is very knowledgeable for this subject and topic. So take it away, Donna.
Thank you. So thank you for having us. I know we keep saying that. And we have the people on Zoom up there. So if you have any questions, will they chime in to you? Okay, perfect, perfect. Also, we have Jennifer here from our Fidelity office here in Natomas. We're just around the corner. But yeah, Regina, we just want to touch upon, we like to kind of give you guys updates of what's happening in the market. Number one, with fraud. Fraud is just off the charts, and real estate agents, buyers, sellers, title companies, lenders are huge targets. And they actually have people that sit like in a room like this, if not larger, and that's what they do all day long, and they're working to see what they can do and to finagle or to change. So currently right now, let me see if I can do this. There we go. For this class, we really wanted to make sure that you guys are informed, that agents, so you can protect your clients and kind of what the current ongoing thing. And some of it may sound very scary, but it's just being aware. If it goes past a certain point, it can be scary. If not, you know what to look for on there. And it's an opportunity to expand your knowledge when you're actually speaking with your clients and making them aware of things. Also, the vulnerability of seniors. We're seeing a lot of elder abuse, which is what we call for the seniors. People taking advantage of them. And we'll get into that a little bit more. And then, of course, we just want a more resilient team effort with all of us together, working together on there. And let's see, did you hijack me? No, I'm kidding. Oh. Did I go too fast? There we go. So this is from the United States Secret Service. We get these. And one of the key things, we'll go through some of the other stuff, but on here, I'm going to read this to you because it comes down to real estate title on here. The fraud is often discovered when recording a transfer of document with the relevant county. The scheme has particularly affected elderly and foreign real estate property owners, but it is not limited to these groups because there are no means, automatically notify the legitimate owners. So they don't get notified when some of this fraud is taking place. Therefore, the burden of verification is on the real estate agent and the title companies. Yeah, so that is directly from United States Secret Service cyber crime investigations. So they're putting it all back on us. So that's why we all need to work. And if you feel something's, a little off, you got to make sure you share that with us. So topics we're going to cover: understanding the dynamics of elderly abuse and recognizing signs. I don't know if anybody's had that happen through any of their transactions, but sadly, it's very common. On there, navigating land fraud. So land fraud is something that has came up a little bit more in the last year or so. And we'll get into more depth on that, of what to look for and what we do as a title company to try to help prevent on that. The legal and ethical responsibilities, just learning what your obligation is, if you're going to stand back, if you're going to get involved, that type of thing. And then safeguarding your clients, having those upfront conversations so that they know what to look for and know what we as a title company do and what you as real estate agents do. So if something seems out of the ordinary with them, they're going to call you first. Okay. And then of course to strengthen that relationship on there. So criminals are posing as real estate property owners. So this is going to the vacant land on here.
So what they're doing is they're finding vacant land or even rental properties, and they will try to sell that property. And the ways that they're doing this is they are turning around, they'll do it by email. You know, when you guys get a call, okay, oh, I have an up call, take that call, and I want to list my property. And then you're like, okay, well, I can come out and meet you. And they're like, no, we'll just do it, you know, via email or over the phone. And usually the agent's, okay, not a problem, we can do that, you know, because you work with people out of state, out of country, that type of stuff. So you're going through your transaction, but they'll never meet up with you, number one. And they want a fast close. They want to close on a Friday. They're rushing you for that. Because what happens is if that gets all the way through and closes on a Friday, the banks are closed, you know, for wire. I should say the Federal Reserve is closed. Those funds have went out, so nobody can even jump on it or might not even know until Monday or Tuesday. Those funds are out of here. I mean, there's just no way to get it back. We do have a direct department for cyber fraud within Fidelity National Financial. So we are an umbrella of companies. We have over 320 title companies under our umbrella. And there is a whole department that works on this on a daily basis throughout the United States. It's pretty crazy. But also another key one to look for is if they want to use their notary. Yeah. And that is one of the key reasons that over all the years, some people are like, oh, in the past, you could use any notary you wanted to. They have to be vetted and qualified to actually do a notary with us. They have to be approved through us. And that's who we would send out. And normally those are the type of people that will not want that person coming out because they're going to ask those questions on there. And then also they will turn around and go into your emails. So you might have a Gmail account, a Ymail, AOL, any of those. So a lot of the fraud will take place is you won't notice, but up at the top of your emails, they can make it look like a different email address. If you were to take your mouse, hover over it, it'll show that email address. Or they may actually do an email address, like mine's dmnowlin@fnf.com. They might do dmnowlin@fmf.com. You're not going to catch it because you're always in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. I try to slow down, but I'm always in a hurry. And so those little things, what happens is if you respond to that, they are now in your system. It's that easy for them. So if it's somebody you're not familiar with, what I always suggest is to forward the email and then use a trusted email address that you may have in a file or, you know, that might have been down on the bottom of their, you know, you can look at their information. But do not just click on something that you are not aware of. It just opens the spyware all throughout. Even though you might have McAfee or any of those or your IT goes through it, we have daily stuff that runs through our system that for fraud, and it goes straight to spam that we can't get in there. But every once in a while, it, you know, if it comes through, it's one person hitting it. They'll take an email if they interject from your client, because it might not be your email, it might be your client's email. They'll take that, they will look at your signature blocks, you know, what you have on there, they can cut and paste that on there and then do that email address that I was just talking about and send it out. And then now they're in communication, you know, oh, you know, I need you to change where you're going to wire your funds to. Okay, wiring funds for an escrow title company, we at Fidelity will not be changing our wiring instructions that we initially sent out. It's a big production of removing bank accounts. So that will never change. So just always remember that with your client, that wiring instructions will never change. And if something were, your escrow officer is going to pick up the phone, call a trusted number and let you guys know and let the client know on that. And I'm probably talking about a lot of stuff that's already within these things. And it does talk about the notaries and cash buyers. They love cash buyers because that's another fast close. You know, get those cash buyers, check, it's gone, and then your buyer doesn't have to own the property on there. And when they push back on a quick close for communication only through via not even picking up the phone, just through the emails, that right there, you need to halt and tell them that you need to meet up, or not by yourself. Make sure you take somebody, but they're probably going to push back and just say they can't meet. And we did have one that were doing that, and we were like, you need to come in, you know, the check that they gave us, it was a cashier's check, and it was washed. So it wasn't even an actual cashier's check. So when we started calling on it, because it takes a little time to cure, or not cure, excuse me, process through the banks, they went dark. They never came back. They were trying to get us to refund it. So see, that's what they do, is they put it in and they cancel the escrow. Then they want us to release, because cashier's checks are supposed to be next day availability. They wanted us to release that check. So we take it farther and we say, okay, I need to see that bank account statement showing that it's cleared your bank. We need, you know, some other items, but they want us just to reissue the check back, and then they're gone. And then that check didn't go through because it was a washed check, but we caught that, thank goodness. So this kind of goes back to elderly fraud on here. You got to pay attention. Controlling people that want to control the bank accounts and fraudulent deeds. They're going to amend the trust. You're going to see amendments on trusts. And a lot of times, you know, we'll say, okay, we need to see the trust certification if they're still alive. They fill out a form that's on there. If there's amendments to those trusts, we will probably want to see that. But this goes from, and I hate to say this, family members, caregivers, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, because there are some fabulous people that take care of their family. But that's where we see a majority of the fraud. And it's very, very sad, because they want control of that. And so our escrow officers will ask some questions, you know, and our vetted notaries will ask, if that person's signing and their health is not well, they're going to ask them, do you know what you're signing? Do you And if they feel that something is off, they're not going to go through with the signing. So you guys should probably kind of do that too when you're working with the client. You know, their daughter might be doing everything, or their son might be doing everything. Oh, mom's sleeping right now, or, you know, that type of stuff. Just say, I just want to say a quick hi, you know, and just have a little conversation and make sure that they're aware of what's going on. Because sometimes it's factual. They're very sick and can't do it on their own, you know, and they need that help. And then a lot of times on the amended trust, they might change who the successor trustee is, or the trustee on it. Then they have full control if that amendment's done. They don't even need the party that was originally on the trust for that. So just kind of, you know, have those conversations. That's what I said. It's kind of scary, but at the same time, the upfront conversations, which at times might be uncomfortable. I mean, no accusatory stuff, just to have a verbal conversation with them to make sure they know what they're doing on it. So manipulation. So as I was saying, family, friends, anyone that's assisting in the real estate world, you guys have your trusted people that you work with. And that's what we want to build from Fidelity with you guys, is that trusted partnership, that you know that we're going to do what we can on our end on anything on the transaction. And especially with any type of elder fraud, because we're not looking for it. Sometimes it just pops up, you know, on that. Over medication and causing confusion. So that's when sometimes stuff happens, you know, and there is a fine line of what we can say and what we can't say. But if there's a concern that you feel, you know, even though we're in a third neutral position, we're still handling the transaction, I would pick up the phone, call your escrow officer, and just say, hey, I feel like something might be a little off. And then you guys will know what family members are around, or if there's a doctor involved, that type of stuff, and have those conversations. Because if they are not coherent enough to sign the document. Maybe there was no amendment to the trust and they have to sign it. We do not want them signing anything unless they are fully capable and aware. So you might want to have conversation, you know, one day, okay, we're going to go through this, and then the next day and just see if they're alert on there. But that is one thing that's, once again, very sad that people, that it's happening to them. They're getting over medicated. Taking over bank accounts for mentally or physically is a mental or physical abuse. So some of them will take the parents in and change the accounts over into their name, or they add themselves to the account. That type of stuff. The key thing is if it's in a trust, when we close an escrow, we will send those funds to the trust account. We cannot deviate it. Whoever has ownership of that property is where those funds are going to go to. We either wire or issue the check. If it's an individual, same thing. Even if that person's on the bank account, they got themselves on the bank account, banks are not supposed to do it unless the parties are on there. But I'm going to tell you, the banks accept wires, even when one party's on there and the other isn't. Sometimes they will let it go through. I see it at the credit unions a lot, but they are not supposed to do that. The account is supposed to be identical of how the vesting is, that how they have ownership of the property, if they're unmarried, if they're single, any of that type of stuff. They don't put what it is, but the name on there is what's going to show. And then sometimes they'll, under distress, you know, have it signed with an attorney or the notaries. They all get kind of victimized in the whole thing too. Once again, it's just conversations and communication. We know everything, anything you do in life is communication, from work, home, any of that. Just make sure you're having the conversations, because once again, I know we all get busy. We have inspections going out. We have, you know, stuff coming in. You're trying to do it. You're working with multiple clients. And sometimes you just got to slow down just a little bit and take an extra look and have that conversation. Because sometimes closings are 10-day close, you know, 5 days close. We're getting a ton of those right now, by the way, and they're cash. So that's all popping up. So when they take over the trust, this is kind of being a little repetitive here. They have full control. They have full control when they've been made the trustee of the trust. They can do whatever they want. So we just have to make sure that it's a valid amendment to the trust on there. And you could do make up your own addendum or amendment to the trust. You can just create it. And then like some of those legal zooms and all that, you can just go in there and make it. It's so simplified, it's scary. So what we do on the land fraud, going back to that, is when it is a vacant land, we will send out an opening letter and just congratulations on your escrow, and if for any reason this is not correct, it's worded better, please notify us. So it's nicely done, but at the same time, if they're not even aware it's being sold, and you know, they live in Canada, they're like, what is going on? Because so many people from out of state don't even know that their vacant properties or land are being sold because they're so good at the fraud. So we definitely will send that letter out. So we want to let you guys know that and say, hey, you might be, you know, getting that letter. So what we do is a little further investigation, because obviously it's their land, they don't live there. We find out where all their mailing stuff is going from the county. And we mail it to that mailing address, not to the property address, obviously. Yeah. So that way they get it and it's a nice little welcome, but at the same time, if you're not aware, let us know type of thing on there. So that's one thing that has been helpful on it. And then the approved notaries we talked about, require management approval for closing. That would be if for some reason it, you know, it's not feeling right. I would go to your broker, have a conversation with them so that it could be filled out. Definitely talk to escrow. We would do the same thing. Jennifer and our other escrow officers would give me a call or our escrow team, and we would filter through that to make sure that the risk on there would be okay. And then notifying management with any suspicious behavior. That's obvious, you know, definitely do that. But, you know, I know right now in this market, it's a tough market. It's getting a little tougher. You know, we're definitely not the 2020, 21, 22. And it kind of went the polar opposite for a little bit. And now it's kind of, it's pretty level right now, I think, but a lot of people are still struggling. So when they get that call or anything for a new client, they want to get it. They want to do it. They want that paycheck. And you just got to remember there's tons of fraud that is just exploding right now with how the market is. Completely exploding. I don't know if you guys know this. For example, on fraud, they have where you can pay 4 cents for the phone call. So if I were to call Jennifer from my phone, it normally would say Donna Marie. I can pay 4 cents and have it say it's Regina's name. They wouldn't know it was me. It would come up and it would say Regina Brumley on there. Yeah. So that it's 4 cents. 4 cents. So any scammer can say to your client and have the name changed. So when it comes through, oh, that's Joe, let me pick up the phone. And it's a different Joe on there. Yeah. That's, I mean, those are just some of the little things with the fraud stuff. Always use with fraud. I don't know if you guys do the 2-person authentication. Are you guys familiar with that at all? So it would be like, we have it for security purposes. When we log into our email, it says, do you want me to text or email a code to you? You know, your credit cards are doing it now, that type of stuff. And so I usually do text because I have my phone with me. So text it, then you get that code and then you put it in where it says to put the code and then it lets you in. So it's 2 parts. It emails you, you know, you're going in your codes, but in order to really get into your emails or your accounts, it's going to text or email you, however you prefer, to another known device to you. And you get that code and then put it back in and then it'll let you in your system.
Is that kind of like the same way, like credit somebody?
Yes.
When you call them.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah, I'm going to text you now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And can you tell me the code that just came through?
Yes, right.
That's
a verification.
Yeah, that's a verification.
So now they're moving humans to just.
Exactly. Because they don't want any communication with you. They just want it all via. So if they see that, and if they can change your email and they go into your account and change it to email them, they can get it that way. I prefer to use text, but you guys, of course, whatever is good for you guys on there. Do you guys have any questions? No? Have you guys came across any of this?
So what happens if the fraud goes through and this person actually purchases?
If the fraud goes through and the person purchases, the title company, you have title insurance. This is a very important part because people think you don't need title insurance. You need it. You are claims division because people are human, things happen, things are automated, would help be responsible. But if it's on your party's part, the buyer, that it came from like their email address or we wouldn't be responsible for that portion. But if it's something that we missed, then we would. But the majority of the time, it comes from the client's email. So that's when I was saying we never change our wiring instructions because people will say, hey, well, I got a text from, you know, Angie, and it said to change and wire over here to US Bank instead of Bank of America. Yeah, unless it's already pre-set up and you and your escrow officer know that you're going to text the client, we do not text the client unless you guys would like.
Is there any like supplemental title insurance that would cover any of that?
No.
What about the agency E&O at all or anything?
I don't know on the E&O. There are several that have went through that I know some companies are dealing with their E&O. I don't know the turnout of that. Yeah. And then, yes.
Land fraud is real. They are out there.
Yes.
one thing we need to be careful of is they are way ahead of us. They're a step ahead of us.
They're 5 steps ahead.
That they know that you would ask them, they know.
Yes.
Every document that they know that you would ask them, they have.
Yeah.
I just encountered one in the first week of April.
You did.
Vacant land in West Sac. I was kind of skeptical, so I asked for the grant deed immediately. The first time I spoke to him, the very next day he sent me a grant deed, legit grant deed.
Did you buy it at the bookstore, right?
Well,
Just
I
get it
don't
on
know
public.
where they got it, but they're out there. They're out there. So first thing I did was contacted my escrow officer. My escrow officer pulled up the actual grant deed. I compared it, and it's very, very similar.
Yeah.
It's public information, but the only difference is the notary part they don't have, right? So next thing I did was did a reverse search on their phone number, was able to get the actual owner, spoke to him, and found out that the owner's not there. So you need to know all this, because if you don't, I mean, it was very, I almost missed it.
It's great you caught that though. I mean, because it is, they have things, you know, if you see like grammatics in their typing of how they're sending you emails, sometimes the wording, you know, you might speak a certain way with your client and then that comes in all formal. You know, just little things like that you can catch on there. But the land fraud, yeah, it's just exploding right now because they found a way that a person's you know, doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah, well.
Do they pursue any kind of criminal action against these people if they actually can identify them?
You know, it gets sent in. I don't know how much they really go after them because it hadn't really closed and taken place. They're doing scandalous things, but at the same time, the fraud, you know, it gets reported and then it's taken from a different division with the cyber.
But it would be tough though, because
it's really tough.
I don't know, but
you can't even
I'm
find them
assuming some of these people are not even
in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
And they speak English very well.
Very well. Yeah.
I had a question for the one that you discovered. Were they asking for cash or?
No, we didn't get that far. But one red flag that made me skeptical is I charged them a high commission and they said yes.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah.
You like 10%
Most of
He
the
did
time,
it in there, yeah. Take it.
nobody's gonna pay 70%, right? And maybe 6.
Take it.
Yeah.
But see, even little things like that, you know, you went with your gut. Always go with your gut. Always go with your gut.
The reverse search is free. There's a lot of apps or websites that you can use.
Yeah, and we have, I mean, our customer service, I'd love to brag about them. They are amazing, amazing. You can get a hold of Regina, you can get a hold of Jennifer. We can pull that immediately if it was a grant deed or anything, as your escrow officer did. You know, you can pull that within minutes. But they'll take that document and they'll modify it to make it look like it, just like your emails. They're gonna modify it so it looks like it's coming from you. And they might send one to your client from you, and then that's when it opens the door. So it's really hard with the liability amount because sadly, it really does usually stem from the security of the emails. That's where it kind of, I'm so happy you caught that. Yes, Jennifer?
They also use the word kindly a lot.
They do, yeah.
For their signature lines.
Oh, kindly, yes. Yeah, kindly. It's all these little things. So don't be using kindly. No more kindly. It's, you know, it's scary. It's just being aware, you know, aware and have the conversations. I mean, we still have to live. We still have to do business. You know, with the elderly, it's just so sad. It's been there for a very long time. But with the fraud going on, it's just at a higher level now, from the elder abuse to regular fraud, cyber fraud, you know, those type of things. We used to be able to, back in the day when there was fraud, like on a wire going out, If we could, I'd say 24 to 72 hours, sometimes we could get a portion of that back. But nowadays, within 24 hours, it's out of the country. It's gone. So if you guys know something and it actually closed, let us know and we get somebody on it immediately on there. So thank you for sharing that story. Hopefully you guys don't run into that, but you already got a call on it. So they won't be calling you. They're probably going to call you now.
So the first thing I should do, probably just gonna take advantage of the private phone.
Yeah, and you can always, we can pull property profile, we can, yeah, and just make sure, and you know, you can go on and see who the listed owner is too, you know. They may say they're that person, but then you can start asking questions and say, oh, okay, well, Vacant, where do you live at? Let me get your information, because on that grant deed, it's gonna say where the mailing address is, or the tax records, and you can kind of correlate that. We just all have to be detectives, which we have been for a long time on there. Any questions from up there? No? Oh, she's not there. We wouldn't know. Sorry.
Oh, she was gonna let us know if
If anybody popped in. Okay. I think that is it.